On to Glow.
Okay. The boss says do it.
Is it okay if I go ahead and say hi?
Absolutely.
You say hi?
Absolutely. I can do this.
Hey, everybody. Yeah.
We're in techno stereo.
Ooh.
Isn't that awesome?
So much fun. Hey,
Yeah.
Nikki, everybody. Nikki Burnett here with Taste Life Nutrition. I am here with Lowell Whiteman. We are talking about fun festivities during the summer, as well as the food that's involved, mindful eating, and all of the fun things.
How
that
much
come
should I
along
put
with
on my
summer.
plate, Nikki? And what should I put on there?
Listen to your body.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to talk about that. in a few
We
minutes.
will
We're
talk
gonna
about it.
that. So Nikki's going to put her headset on
Yes,
and
thank you.
mic up. Pull that microphone over to her when she's ready. Hi, everybody out there. I'm hoping I'm seeing you the way I need to see you. I'm waving to my peeps. Danny, I see you, or I feel you, Danny. We're gonna have some great follow-up today too on the show here at KUHSdenver.com. I'm here with Nikki Burnett. I'm Lowell Whiteman, your host of 360 Performance Talk, and our talk is always about performance. And today it's about the performance of making the choices. You know, when you pick that plate up, whether it's paper, plastic, or good china, and you're wondering, what should I put on it? Because you're going down the buffet line or the picnic basket, or you're just, hanging out at the club looking at all that stuff behind the kitchen. You see them making that. I hate that. They make these kitchens where you can see the food.
I love it.
Oh, but I want all of it.
Well, I love to cook. I want to see what they're doing.
I know, but and we're going to talk about the discipline.
Does take some discipline, that's for sure.
Musica. Take care of the musica and go, but jing. And there we go. And we got to turn up the stuff and the stuff and the stuff. Look at this.
So much
I am
to do.
so into it because I'm not.
Oh, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that just amazing kind of thing going on here? Oh, I can hear. Oh, it's melodic tones. Okay, if my voice sounds sexier, I'm just going to say it because I think it is. It's because I'm at the end of a just notorious summer cold. And just a sidebar, we're going to talk about health from a nutritional standpoint, but people, be aware of the environment that you're in because there's airborne stuff that you can, just inhale. It's no longer good enough to just wash your hands and be aware of who you touch and, the kissing and the hugging and all that kind of stuff. You can also breathe it in. So be aware of your environments, protect yourselves. I now make a connection between the people at the airport with the masks on.
Right.
And why they're wearing those masks. Because of the stuff that I discovered. Now, that being said, that didn't scare anybody, I hope.
Well, can I throw something in
Oh,
there?
gosh, yes.
Let's not be afraid of germs.
That's where I was going.
Okay,
yeah, that's
okay,
exactly where I was
good.
going.
Like, let's not leave that. We have
Yeah.
to not be afraid of germs.
Well, I'm a farm kid, and you're an
Right,
outdoor
right.
person,
Yep.
so we're always out there in the muck and stuff. And
Yeah.
look here, this is going to sound disgusting. When I was a kid, one of my chores was to always muck out the barn and the stalls and whatever, right? Well, I mean, as a kid, it's hot. It's Iowa.
Yeah.
I'm barefoot.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
nice.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't know about tapeworm, because you're barefoot walking around in the muck. Gratefully, we had very healthy cattle.
Yeah.
So
Yours is sideways. And you have to
I'm
go ahead and flip it.
Oh.
and now what did it do? Okay, should I turn it the other way now?
No,
Just leave it there?
Yeah, it's broadcasting.
Oh,
So that's
hey,
good, like-
you saw me from a different perspective. Okay. So welcome again, everybody. We're still here, and Nikki's still here. There she is. Okay. So as I was saying, I brought in all those germs as a youngster, building my immune system.
Yep.
And I am who I am. And look, I recovered quickly. I felt it coming on Sunday night, got on a plane on Monday, and that's when I felt it. The change in pressure and stuff. Man, I hit the ground Monday night, and I'm going, whoa.
That's tough.
And I had a big meeting Tuesday morning, a presentation. They were so wonderful to me, though. It was, I didn't cough much, but it just sounded bad. So, once again, I'll bring you back to today and right now. We're here at KUHSdenver.com in wonderful North Glen, Colorado. I'm here with Nikki Burnett. my wonderful colleague and friend who's one of the premier nutritionists in my world, that's for darn sure. And hopefully she will be in yours as well.
Thank you.
And we're here to talk about a full plate. And what does that mean? Does quantity actually mean quality? As you all know, I deal with high-performance athletes and executives that tend to, on the executive level, gosh, they're going through open bars and these big spreads of food and stuff. And look, I have to admit, even though I wasn't hungry, I still ate the stuff.
Sometimes it happens. I think we all do it. We shouldn't, and we need to be aware of it. And I think that's something that we'll get into is mindfulness and being aware of your body and what you need and what you don't need. But I'm guilty of it. I love food.
Yeah.
I love food, and I love to eat food, and so I have to be super aware of how I'm feeling and eat slowly and pay attention to what it is. And especially as I've come to learn my body and my own sensitivities, and how foods make me feel or things that happen to me, I think about, okay, if I eat this, what's going to happen in the future, whether it's tomorrow or next week or 8 days from now, because that's how gluten affects me, is in 8 days, I get breakouts. And so, you think about these things, you start to learn who you are and what your body's telling you, and you put things in perspective.
Well, and that's the perspective is our first segment, mindfulness and the mindset, and basically looking at this question: how do I stay true to myself? Eating the right foods in amounts that challenge me. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough in a minute.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, sorry everybody. So I'm gonna do a promo that I didn't know I was gonna do. Halls. That's not so funny because I don't have them as a sponsor.
Yet.
Maybe this will promote them into getting me as a sponsor. Okay, so it's not as bad as gum, but it's gonna work. You had a quote on your website that I'm gonna quote for you.
Okay.
And it's from Ann Wigmore.
Yes.
And it's a great quote for today.
I love that quote.
Food can be the safest, most powerful form of medicine, or the slowest form of poison. Boy, isn't that true?
When I the first time I saw that, I just went, oh, that's just amazing, because it's so true. I mean, that's exactly what food is. It is it tells our body what to do. It's communication for our body, for our cells, for our DNA, or it freaks our body out. And our body doesn't know what to do. So if we keep a clean, open line of communication, our body's like, I know what to do, and our DNA knows what to do. But if we were eating terrible food full of toxins, then, or just fast food or whatever it is, then it's a very broken line of communication, and our body gets confused, and that's where disease sets in.
So then, Nikki, where I want to take that quote is, the summertime is a great time of year, but it opens the door, the metaphorical door, of lots of challenges.
Sure.
Lots of opportunities to say yes, but more importantly to say when to say no.
Right.
And so here's my list: picnics, a buffet, no matter where that buffet might be, any number of environments I've been invited to, a friend's house, clubs, a restaurant because it's a business meeting, whatever.
Meetings, yeah.
And they don't know me. I walk in the door, they give me a piece of paper that I read that has all their choices on there, or they've got it already spread out in front of me, and I go, oh my gosh, what do I do? And look, I'm only saying that because I'm conscientious of the fact I need to be aware. I need to watch out what I'm doing.
Yep.
So what do you say to somebody about their mindset as they go in knowing where they're going?
It can be difficult because if you're going into a place where you don't really know what they're putting into their food, you think it can be a beautiful spread, but there are things that contain the unhealthy oils that are so damaging to our body and our cardiovascular system and are inflammatory. And so sometimes, if you want to be truly, really careful, it's best just to eat the things, if there's a veggie plate, the things that are going to be as clean as they can be. But if you're not sure, then just do small amounts of it. Don't fill your plate with lots of stuff that you don't know what it is. Just do, if you have a bite, it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, I'll back that up. There are some people, if they have one bite of something, it can throw them into a downward spin. And that's where knowing your body is so important. And you think of somebody with celiac, if they get even sometimes a breath of gluten, it throws them into that downward spiral. So, it's knowing your body, knowing what you can handle, how it's going to make you feel, and if you want to, play with food a little bit, eat the stuff that's not so bad, take a bite, and then leave it alone and move on.
Are there any signs, outward signs, like when you walk by a buffet that you could say, oh, I saw that, I should stay away from that?
Well, I think that this is probably bad to say, but most restaurants, most places, unless they've been told ahead of time to watch what they're putting in their food, they go cheap. So you can assume that the things that are, the casseroles and the meals where there are lots of ingredients put in, that it's probably not the best thing. It probably has unhealthy oils in it. It probably has some processed foods in it. It may have gluten in it if you're sensitive to or allergic to gluten. Nuts, all kinds of things that go in that, we don't know about. We're told, I was talking with someone the other day, and they were told that their oil was olive oil, but it actually was 20% olive oil and 80% soybean oil.
Whoa.
And they advertise it as olive oil. Yeah, and you see that stuff all the time. You have to be so careful.
I had a message the other day I saw that really disturbed me. Kraft macaroni and cheese was told it could hurt me, and I went, what? I mean, I
It's
thought
the thing
that
we all ate as a child.
Yeah, and now as an adult, I get creative. I do dill and a little bit of tuna in there, and I go, oh, this is really great, because I made it myself.
So you're still eating it as an adult?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It's a quick and easy.
It is.
But I know you, and I was reminded before I even got here. You ask Nikki this. You tell her what you ate this morning and see what she says. I said she already knows. Peanut butter and jelly is not the thing to do. So I already know better. But I could get my own macaroni. I could do my own really good cheeses. I don't.
So experiment.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about food is you play with it and experiment with it. You can do so many things yourself that actually is going to taste much better than the blue box mac and cheese. I mean, really, is it that good? Powdered nasty cheese.
It has messages. It has memories.
Oh, I get that.
I was poor as a mouse, and I would save it.
Okay, but you no longer are.
No, what? This is true. So what I've done then, as you said, I experimented. I took little bites. So I make a whole bunch of pasta and put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Into boxes. And then I bring it out and add my own cheese. The grating. I'm a pampered chef,
Right.
And so that's been okay. Oh my gosh. But when you have a cold, what is it feed a cold, starve a flu, or starve a fever? Well, I can't remember what that one is.
I don't actually know.
So anyway, I don't feel like eating.
Okay.
I don't feel like eating.
Okay.
And as of this morning, I've lost 4 pounds.
Okay.
over the last week. Now we're a little off track, but that's about mindset. Where does your mind go in whatever state that you're in, and you're presented with these different scenarios. So, are you saying that it might be better to be a grazer, take little pieces rather than just here's the plate, go through the line, pile it all up, or put it whatever portions on there you want? Or should I, if I'm having trouble with the discipline of my mindset, should I just be a grazer as a lifestyle choice?
So I think we're talking about two different things, because if we're going through a buffet line, or if you're at a barbecue or whatever the case may be, taking your small bites of things that you probably are not going to benefit you, that are not nutrient dense, they may have a lot of sugar, but you still want it because you're at a party and it's social and it's fun. It happens, right? So that's when you take your small bites.
Okay.
So when it comes to being a grazer as a life choice or a dietary lifestyle choice, I have a few clients, very few, that need to eat pretty regularly throughout the day. But I would say that most people don't you don't need to graze, because what happens, I think that biochemically we are meant to have some emptiness,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so what that can do is it can help push out, potentially if there are parasites or if there are bacteria that are
Gotcha.
that are in the wrong places in the GI, it can help to push them out. And so you start to think about, okay, so we have that. We're now getting lots and lots of research on intermittent fasting, and then fasting, just fasting, and how beneficial it can be, as well as calorie restriction. And I say calorie restriction very carefully because we want to do a very planned out calorie restriction if we're doing intermittent fasting or any kind of fasting. And there's a very careful way of doing it. Straight calorie restriction is a really bad idea, and is
Because
not,
the types of calories will impact a lot of things. I mean, energy levels,
Right,
cardiovascular situations.
Sure, yeah.
But I get that. In a general
Yeah.
sense, calorie restriction, because there's actually groups of people that are minimalists
oh yeah,
in what they eat as a way to not and it's not weight management, it's just a lifestyle that makes them
Right.
feel better, to the point you made about the emptiness,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
helps clean the things
yep,
out.
yep.
And I'm guessing those are people that they don't need to do a cleansing routine. They're already kind of in it.
Probably. Now, is that the best way to go? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's where I go back. I always go back to genetics. When I work with clients, I look at their genetics, and there are some things that give me an indication of, the macronutrient intake that they should have, and the types of macronutrients and the amounts and that kind of thing. So we're all different. If somebody is a minimalist, maybe it just is suited for them.
Okay.
I probably don't believe that that's the best thing for most people.
Yeah.
But we're all unique, right?
Well, science has a tendency to support you. I mean, from a standpoint of just nutritional value that's required for certain aspects of your body management, cardiovascular, structural, muscular, all the things that fuel all that kind of stuff. As we come to the end of our first segment on mindset, I want to end up this segment by asking you this question. How should my friends and family help me with this? Because I've been told that, like years ago, when my daughter or my wife were on a diet, and they'd say, well, why are you putting that on the table? You're just challenging me. Why would you do that to me? You know I'm on a diet. I go, okay. So that's an extreme example, but I've got guys at training tables that they get chastised by their fellow players because their plate isn't big enough.
Oh.
Not enough, because they're thinking calorie, bulk up, but not with any quality thoughts to it.
Right, and that's a problem.
So how do we manage that set of not reinforcers, that energy that's pushing me a little bit?
So, like support. You're talking about support.
Yeah,
within
or the lack
family,
thereof.
Right. I think it's one of the most important things that there is, mostly because of what I've seen. When
That's
people
right.
do have support,
Mm-hmm.
and having that support can give you motivation and want to continue moving forward in what you're doing. And if you don't have the support, you just get mad, and you don't continue. And an example that I have, I love this so much. I have a client who has been overweight for a really, really long time, and has tried to do this on his own, and has had a difficult time, and he travels a lot. So at this point, he's in a place where he has a roommate, both traveling for work around, and his roommate also wants to lose weight. So they start working together and supporting each other, researching nutrition plans, going through the whole plan that I have for my client. And they have had the best fun and the most success in 4 or 5 months. He's lost 40 pounds.
Oh, nice.
More than 40 pounds.
Nice.
And he is exercising, and he's motivated. And then once that point comes where the job ends and they need to part ways, you have those habits that are set in place, and the feeling of feeling good, and the inflammation going down, and the energy going up, and things like that. And so that continues the motivation.
Love that, the continuation part. But the key is finding the spark.
Yeah.
In his case, it was a roommate, and and support, and the strategy. You gave him a strategy.
Sure.
So it sounds like reinforcement, regardless of where that source comes from for the reinforcement.
Right.
But does it also mean taking ownership of your message and sharing that with family and friends. And you know, this is an extreme statement, but back off. I'm not going to do that. Don't feed my addiction.
Well, sure, yeah. You don't want. I mean, the lack of support isn't going to help you at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to put it out there and say, and if you're not surrounding yourself by people that are supportive, maybe that's another question that you have.
Yeah. Well, you read my mind, because that's, as I've said before to everybody, when you set goals, you have to have a swagger that represents it's all about me. So until you take ownership of what strategy you gave them or whatever goals and strategies you have, your ownership of that is exemplified by you telling others.
It's true.
Here's what I'm going to do, and here's where I've seen you conflict with me. You constantly, Mom, you constantly tell me, eat my beans, or clean your plate. You know, there's people starving.
So bad.
Oh gosh, yes. So I said, you know, so we have these paradigms that we've gotten from our youth, and now when you learn the things that are going to fit you, stay true to them, be accountable, and manage your expectations to those levels.
Yep.
Okay, so that ends our first segment on mindset. Once again, a reminder, everybody, we're on KUHSdenver.com, and you're listening to 360 Performance Talk. I'm here with Nikki Burnett, nutritionist par excellence.
Oh, so fancy.
And we look in the background, we have this wonderful little thing.
I love it.
It's about her, but not her.
No,
people that are doing things. And Taste Life Nutrition. What a better segue than that. I mean, look at that. In Wheat Ridge, Colorado. It's awesome. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Shannon. And Shannon, you know that you have trouble pushing away from the plate. Manage your plate, Shannon. You know that, because I've known you since you were, you're doing better because you're a dad and you work really hard. But, remember what you need to do. So I'm going to throw a wave out there to you, buddy. Have a good day today and a great weekend. But anyway, I also want to remind everybody that we have, I'm encouraging them to sponsor the show because they should. This Germ Block Health, AvCare, go to AvCare, their website, and take a look at the products there at avcare.com, AVKARE.com. This is a non-alcohol bacterial cleanser and I love this. Clip it to your scrubs, carry it around. Nurses love this. And because it's alcohol-free, in hospitals, they can carry it anywhere they want. If it had alcohol in it, it can't go in the surgical center. Yep. Can't go into pediatrics. So it's got to be alcohol-free. This is awesome stuff. Have I given you any of this?
I don't think so.
There's yours. Try that. It feels like a lotion. Okay. So there's no drying of your cuticles or your knuckles and all that kind of stuff.
That's nice.
And they've just come out. It will be coming out soon. A new product that is biodegradable, which means that the sales guy talked to me the other day. He put it in his mouth and gargled with it. That's how safe it is. Okay. But still with the same germ killing. But it's for bathrooms and locker rooms and that kind of stuff. This is the hand sanitizer.
But don't overuse it. We need bacteria.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, and what's interesting when you look at the specs on this, it's more, in some cases, I would call it more scientifically a bacterial neutralizer. Okay. So it can't promulgate itself to other areas, rather than totally getting rid of it. So,
yeah, I'm excited to look at it.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. So that's for you.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll put it on my scrubs.
So that's AvCare. Keep lobbying. We want them as a sponsor on 360 Performance Talk. Our next segment is skills, and one of the things I'm not a runner long distance. I'm a sprinter, and the same thing is true with my eating habits. Okay. I'm a sprinter.
Okay. Yep.
So I have trouble with pace, and I'm wondering how significant that is.
Starting narrator, 28, Nikki Burnett Taste Life Nutrition Wheat Ridge Co. Nikki Burnett Taste Life Nutrition
Holy
Wheat Ridge
cow.
Co. YouTube.
What is Nikki
Google
doing?
Chrome Pain.
Wow.
Finally did.
Help me. Help me. What
was
happened?
Was that supposed to happen?
No, I think it was my aura. My electronic aura.
That was so funny.
Yeah, that was good. The gremlins are segueing into the show. I love this.
Call Nikki.
Yeah. They didn't get enough. They wanted more. and they just preempted us.
Oh,
Well, anyway,
that's good stuff.
we're back to talking about pace, which is a skill. You know, this is a segment on skills where we talk about, you know, creating a vision for yourself, creating an understanding of your timing, and envisioning where you're going to go. Like in the mindset part we talked about, hey, I'm going to go to this event. What do I need to know? How do I need to prepare myself? Well, once I get there, what skills should I be using to stay on task within that particular environment that I'm in? So for me, it's pace and timing. Now, will that, I know how fast I eat does affect my nutritional
Sure.
skill, but
Sure.
expand on that for me, Nikki, about, because I don't want to offend anybody. I'm at their picnic, you know, they did this great spread, and I'm a dessert-aholic, so I want to go to the end of the table, right at the beginning of the table.
Dessert first.
Yeah, it's so challenging for me. What can you say to me?
Well, a couple of things I would say. First, it takes and we've all heard this. We've heard this since we were kids, that it takes the brain longer than the stomach to realize it's full and to send those signals. So we get to a point to where we're you know, eating and eating and eating, and we're bloated, and and then 20 minutes later we feel even worse.
Yeah,
Right.
there.
Yeah, well, so have I.
Yeah.
And it stinks. I hate it. But, you know, the food is good and you would love it. So there are a couple of things, you know, slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Okay.
So give the body a chance to to adjust to the food that's in it.
Okay.
And there are a couple of things that I do that I've noticed for myself is if I eat small amounts and then go away, like
Okay.
smaller amounts where I'm not even close to full, but I go away from
Is that amounts or bites?
amounts.
Okay.
Not bites, just amounts. You know, amounts for me. We're all different.
Okay.
And
So I can take the small amount and take it in one bite?
I
Just-
wouldn't.
Just qualify.
Smaller bites.
Okay, thank you.
Smaller bites.
Okay.
But I move away from the plate or I go somewhere
Okay.
because I'm in a hurry and I need to leave.
Yeah.
And I realize that in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, I'm full.
Okay.
And I'm very comfortable. So I challenge people to eat till they're comfortable, walk away, and then pay attention for the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes and see how they feel.
Okay.
Because your brain is able to catch up to what's there and you'll feel full. And if you're not, then go have another couple of bites. That's
Okay.
fine.
Do liquids supplement that not staying full, but kind of filling in the gap where you don't really feel full from what you just ate?
I think it can. Well, so I would say two things. For one, drinking while you're eating is not always the best idea because
Right.
it can dilute enzymes. But drinking water before you eat, yeah. And sometimes feelings of thirst or feelings of thirst could seem like feelings of hunger. Does that make sense? So if
Yeah.
you're not drinking enough water, you may think you're hungry when actually you're just thirsty.
Gotcha.
So drink some water, eat your food, and eat slowly. And I would like to throw in there too how important it is to be really mindful about your eating and slowing. I keep hitting the
That's
microphone.
okay. We'll do this.
Oh, better.
Go like that.
Except it's in
Oh,
my.
but-
There we go.
Don't do that.
So, food eating when we're in what's called a sympathetic state, which is a fight or flight state.
Yep.
So if we're eating fast, we're eating while we're working, we're eating on the go, those can really affect the way that we digest our food. We actually don't digest our food because it takes the blood away from the core and to the
Extremities.
the extremities. My words aren't working
It's
for
all right.
me.
Gotcha.
And to the extremities to run, to do the things that we're supposed
Yeah.
to do, to lift the car off the person, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And so there's no blood there, not enough blood there to actually break down the food and allow the nutrients to be absorbed and utilized. And so taking your mind away from what you're doing and to the plate and to the food and appreciating it. This sounds a little bit hokey, but it's true. Smell it, appreciate it. You know, if you pray, say a prayer over it or meditate and eat it slowly. And I mean, like I said, food is good. We want to enjoy our food. And what it does, it's a biochemical transformation in the body
Yeah.
that brings us into that parasympathetic state, which is a rest and digest state. The blood goes to the core and it has the ability to do its job. So really important biochemically.
Based on what you just said, I have a greater appreciation for the paramilitary. You ever seen a Marine eat?
Oh, I think you've talked about this before. Yeah.
Okay,
Because they
so-
have to. Yeah, it's awful.
Well, exactly. And yet they still accomplish their task. Their mission is, and yet you're saying that a lot of that effort in the way they eat, the way they consume energy resources is contradictory to what they're utilizing it for.
Right.
Or my athletes, for example, training tables. Coaches give them a finite amount of time to eat, or we're on an agenda.
Yeah.
Like the pregame, this huge meal.
Right.
3 or 4 hours before, granted, but it's still in a short amount of time. So the mental side of things. So you've raised some issues for me about. I have to remind my guys on the skill side of things to maybe drink some fluids before you go in and eat the big meal and take your time. Now we say they say prayers and they slow down. They try to slow down, but they're grilling ribeyes at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we're talking scrambled eggs, ribeyes, potatoes, fruit, all different choices.
Yeah.
But no education to the guys. Which one should you pick?
Yeah.
So what do? They pick all of them.
All of it. And then scarf it down.
Or and sometimes under guilt. It's not because they want to eat it. It's because the lineman next to them, who they respect, is eating it.
Oh, no.
And they're part of the team.
Oh, okay.
So we don't talk about cognitive independence, your own set agenda. We don't do enough time predisposed understanding of, do you have dietary issues? Do we have allergies? We had a kid that he had a nut allergy, and we didn't know about it.
Oh.
And at a meal, we had ice cream at night, and there was nuts and stuff, and they had it mixed in. So it was a topping.
Yeah.
He started putting it on top, and he went into anaphylactic.
Ugh.
And so
Just gives me chills.
Yeah, I had to,
So scary.
I knew what to do. And so, at any rate,
Yeah.
the part is about skills. So you've talked about what you recommend to slow down your pace. Certain things you probably already do as a human being. You have a prayer. You might meditate. You might show appreciation for the food by just sitting there looking at it and taking in how well you organized your plate. That would. Colors,
Whatever it takes.
yeah, and
right?
smelling the food, and just
Yeah.
making that happen. Does breathing have any relevancy in this, as far as like when you take bites? I mean, like I said, the marine example, but I've seen people that just they don't breathe.
Yeah. Breathing has relevancy in everything. I mean, everything that we do, every part of our life, we tend to be shallow breathers, and I'm not the best at this myself, but there's a conference that I go to every year. It's an Epigenetic Conference, and we are, talking about this big, deep information when it comes to genetics and epigenetics. But the first thing that they do on that first day, usually within the first couple of hours, is they talk about not working so much, taking vacations, learning how to breathe. Because if we don't do all of these basic things, our epigenome doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Our food doesn't matter because we are not functioning properly because we're too stressed and we're not breathing right. And it's a big deal in everything that we do. So yeah.
Well, and I don't know if I've accomplished overcoming my childhood. And that sounds like a bad thing. Don't mean it that way. But
We can get you help.
Thank you. But really, I don't know. Is there enough help for? But you're a product of your environment when you're a kid, and how I was taught to eat. What I was taught to eat. I was a farm kid, which is a great life. But I'm also adjusting and adapting some things that weren't so great for me. Food choice, how much on my plate. And now I'm seeing it reflected in the clients I serve, the teams and organizations I work with, because I have a high expectation when people come to a meeting or a training session or they hit the practice field. I look for certain outward behaviors that tell me, all right, how much did you eat this morning? Did you eat this morning?
Sure.
Did you hit the
They
table?
can both make you sluggish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll based on what I see, I'll ask questions.
Yeah.
So the skill sets, once you get into that environment, based on what you ate or didn't eat, when you see somebody that is sluggish and you go, oh my gosh, I can see that you didn't do the right things this morning. What's my alternative? Like if I'm at work and I feel sluggish, what should I do?
Oh gosh, I think it.
Should I eat something?
Well, if you didn't eat, yeah.
Okay.
So if you did eat, then maybe it's, you need to go drink some water.
Okay.
If you ate too much or if you ate the wrong thing. And so for me,
Uh-huh.
if somebody, so I don't know what to do right in that situation because I'm not sure what's causing the sluggishness, right?
Yep.
But for me in practice, if somebody's telling me that they're sluggish, that's when I start to try to, be that little bit of a detective that I try to be and, ask a lot of questions. It can be the food, it can be not the amount of food, but the type of food. Gluten makes so many people sluggish, and once they take it out, they are no longer sluggish. But that's why I do labs. I look at food sensitivities. I look at if there are other, metabolic problems going on. I look at genetics to see if there's some.
So let's touch a little bit on the gluten thing because people go either they're here and not conscious of the gluten thing, or they're way off the charts.
Yep.
It mentally, not chemically. So they think, oh my God, I need to be gluten free. Well, I think there's degrees. Like I know that I don't have a sensitivity to gluten, but if I were to reduce the amount of glutens in my system, I would feel better. And I've done that. I've done that through the breads and dairy products and all different kinds of things that impact me and the lactose. I'm not lactose intolerant, but I can't drink a lot of milk. If I drink, or if I have a bowl of cereal, let's say, before I go to karate, I'm not good.
It's kind of a double whammy.
Oh, it's just not good. Not good
Yeah.
at all. So, and I didn't realize that. So I want to make sure we talk a little bit about the skill at being aware. It's just one thing to be aware of your pace and your timing and not eating fast and the breathing that's necessary, but being aware of just who you are and what it requires for you. Like people are into, I walk through offices a lot and look at what's on people's desks to identify the nonverbals that may impact performance, right?
Yep.
And in that process, I'll see things like little Tupperware containers of almonds, and then I'll see a little container of oatmeal that's empty. And so they had oatmeal from the Starbucks downstairs or whatever.
Okay.
And so the next thing I do is I ask questions about what was on your almonds. Was it not anything, or was there a salt, a seasoning?
Raw? Was it, yeah.
Were they roasted or not? And then I asked them about the oatmeal. Well, what did you put in the oatmeal?
Yep.
And where did you get the oatmeal?
Yep.
Because all of those things have bearing on what we've just said.
Yep.
Quality of the oatmeal. Like you said, we don't know what's in our stuff. Like the olive oil example you gave, it's 20% olive oil, 80% something
Soybean,
else.
yeah.
Ugh, soy. I mean, soy's okay, but
No, it's not.
That's not good.
Mostly it's not.
Well, I'm an Iowa farmer, so I have to say soy's okay. I'm just.
Mostly not.
Do you
okay.
realize how many soybeans we sell? It's, China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. A little politics there. Brief segment of politics. So, any rate, as we get close to the next segment on mental conditioning, I want to just end with the question for you here. What can I do to influence or to reduce the influence of my environment? No, I'm sorry. Let's take it back, because we're going to go talk about mental conditioning and the environment. What can I do to reduce the influence of others on me about my food choices and maybe, God forbid, the amount of food I eat?
I really just think it all comes down to accountability.
Okay.
It's understanding who you are, why you are who you are, what's creating, if there are issues or non-issues. If, and understanding, are you eating too much because there's a leptin intolerance, which is what tells our body we're hungry. If we're resistant to leptin, we don't know it tells our body we're not hungry, sorry. So if we are leptin resistant, then we just keep eating because we don't realize that we're not hungry. I see this in labs a lot. So, and it's also understanding who you are genetically. So all of these things go into it, but taking accountability, knowing, okay, I'm starting to feel full, let's not eat anymore, or if I need to have another bite, let's just have a bite and not a whole thing.
Okay.
We have to take care of ourselves. Nobody can do it for us.
Okay. So that's a great segue to promoting you.
Oh, great.
Okay.
I like that.
Exactly. So you do, in your practice, you get lab results. You're a scientific person. I know that about you, even though you're some people may misunderstand that. Nikki's not just a nutritionist. She's a very detail-oriented, comprehensive nutritionist that wants to know and understand who you are before she takes one step forward in analyzing or recommending anything to you. So you are a person people should see to know themselves.
Correct.
To get the labs done.
Yeah.
To really, so you work with physicians to make that happen, or can you do them on your own?
I do them on my own. I have accounts with certain labs
Okay.
Where I have the ability, I have the proper certification to have the ability to order a lot of labs. There are certain specialty labs that I don't and can't order, and that's okay. You know, I don't need
Yeah.
to do that kind of thing. But I'm happy to work with doctors. There are sometimes, you know, that some of the labs can be covered by insurance, and so I will send them to their doctor,
Okay.
say, do this. I'll give them the list of what I want, and that's covered, and that can save a good bit of money.
Yep.
And so that's my goal. I don't upcharge for labs. I want the labs done, because then you come to me and like, okay, we have this amazing amount of information that we can start putting pieces of the puzzle together and figure out what we need to do.
Well, it sounds like if it gets clinical, you have data to supply the physician to really expedite the process.
Yeah.
Is that something unique to you, or is that a general kind of status for the type of nutritional work that you do?
So I'm a functional nutritionist, and I believe, you know, it stems from the practice of functional medicine. So functional medicine is an approach to, it's a very systematic approach to working with the body as a whole.
Okay.
And so I'm not in medicine, but it is this along the same lines. And so there are more and more functional nutritionists, I think, out there, but you know, not everybody does it. Not everybody wants to do it, because it is really detail oriented.
Well,
it's
it does.
time-consuming.
Not that it takes a certain number of credentials, but you've got the credentials that make it happen, and not everybody has those, or the experience that backs those credentials up.
Right.
Like, you've been in the hospital environment before, right?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Prior to nutrition.
Right,
but
right.
Yes.
And have you been in the lab, the scientific area as well, whether it was in college or in the
Well,
hospital?
in college, I mean, I have my master's degree in science,
Yeah.
so I mean, I did some, you know, you have to have some lab work
Okay.
there, and I, you know, worked in vet clinics and, you know, did some, you know, reproductive work and that kind of thing. But so not like, not truly. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
I don't want her to
Yeah.
diminish this, okay, people? This is something that's, and to me, is very important. As I look at resources that I recommend to people, and I recommend Nikki quickly and wholeheartedly, because she has that detail orientation at a level of experience that makes it legit. And I think that's what people need to know. They don't need to know it was science and it was test tubes and petri dishes and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yes, that's part of it, but it's legit. It gives you good results that I've known from working with Nikki, that she makes it, she communicates it to you in a way that you understand it, so that you can have a young man, like you said, that has had that result for himself. But at the same time, you've got people that don't necessarily need to lose weight; they just need to be healthier.
Yeah, I have a few weight loss clients. Most of my clients are chronic. You know, they have GI issues that they can't
Gotcha.
figure out. They've got autoimmune conditions that they don't know why, and you know, it might be blood sugar problems. It could be fertility. It can be cardiovascular.
What about mental disruptors?
Mental disruptors?
Yeah, that's what I have. It's just I'm constantly thinking, and it's disrupting.
So we can work on that. It could be the gluten.
Well, thank you.
Gluten affects the brain.
That's Nikki Burnett. You've seen her stuff behind us, and she doesn't. I'm going to just say it for her. She doesn't really deal with mental disruptors at all, and shouldn't probably, because it's scary. So as you're looking at what you see behind us, for those of you who are watching today, you can contact Nikki Burnett, Taste Life Nutrition,
Hey, Trey. Hi, Lacey.
at her website, tastelifenutrition.com. She's in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. I'm always glad to have her on the show. So our next segment is about mental conditioning, and that's the environment part. The environmental influences on us. And in our theme here, you know, we're talking about picnics and cookouts and
All of the good things.
oh yeah, they're great stuff.
Yeah.
And in great environments, family reunions, and
Yep.
God knows where, you know, across the country.
Yeah, we're having ours in a couple of weeks.
But there's some negative food behavior that goes on there. Because Grandma brought her special peach cobbler, or you know, Auntie Jill, you know, brought in this huge casserole. And even though I trust Auntie Jill, I really don't know what went in there.
Right.
So do I ask her when I get to the environment, if I come in there with the headset full of ideas that Nikki and Lowell gave me, what do I do? So there's these environments, these pressures that the environment itself brings upon me. What do I do?
You know, we're coming to a time where people get really frustrated with people asking so many questions, but I think it's a matter of taking responsibility for yourself. I think that asking the questions because you want to be healthy, you want to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
We shouldn't just assume that, people are going to care that we want to know what's in their food, because we want to be healthy. I want to be healthy, so I'm going to ask, hey, what's in there? I can usually see if there's cheese in it, but you usually can't see if there's gluten in it. And so I just ask, is there gluten in it? And I we take responsibility. We are our own caretaker.
So do you think I would offend Auntie Jill if I walked in with a sandwich board that says, is there gluten in there? How much phosphates do you have in that wine? They would probably not like me too much, would they?
I think it depends on the person.
Okay, Auntie Jill will not like me.
So, well, then you don't eat it.
Okay, because that's
what I do.
So food, which is like bites of stuff, is different than the beverage category.
Sure.
And I mentioned phosphates in wine.
Sulfites.
Yeah, well, and there's phosphates and sulfites. There's different preservative combinations, and so sulfites are the big one that really hurts me. Then you're going to have to get an EpiPen out for me.
Histamines.
And that's come out of aging, and it's changed over time. Could have been because
your genetics now.
Well, it could be over consumed wine as a youngster that kind of lowered my tolerance. So I found a filter. You can get a glass filter to pour your wine through, and it takes out the sulfites.
Stop it.
Yeah. And a colleague of mine.
Where's my phone? I need to go.
Yeah, a colleague of mine. You could get it on Amazon. And it actually is the size of the glass top, and you pour the wine. He got it for his wife because she was allergic to sulfites.
Really?
Yeah. So any of those bottles with the screw tops?
That's what needs to be promoted on the show now.
Yeah. Well, so I found that, and because I like wine, but I haven't drank a lot of wine over the years, because now even the corked wines, because they want to increase their distribution, put sulfite preservatives into the wine so they can have it on shelf life. Well, that I might love your vineyard, but I'm not going to drink your wine unless I go there, because you're not going to have it in the wine at the vineyard. So I guess it's a good thing I don't drink as much wine, I suppose.
Probably.
I can look at the positive.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I have to say, like I did the other day, they said they bought a bottle of wine, and I said, hey, let me see the bottle a minute. I look at it, and a lot of times you have to look through the bottle to see the back of the label to see if the sulfites are in there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on the front, so I did that, and it had sulfites. I said, no, I'm good. And fortunately, I didn't get any cross-eyed looks about it.
So that's you do the same thing with food.
Yeah. So I'm being a little facetious. Auntie Jill will handle it. She might dump the stuff on me, but she would handle it, and we would get along all right. Or she'd say, just try a little bit.
Right.
So the environment's a big deal for me in competitive sports, because we've got clubhouse just this week in a baseball clubhouse. The food they put in there. Now, as I say that, I have clubs that I'll state out up front: Toronto Blue Jays, New York Mets, New York Giants, the Houston Astros, the Angels. They all have chefs and nutritionists on staff. So they do a profile of all their athletes at the major league level, not necessarily down in the feeder teams, as to dietary needs and requirements that are over and above what their medical staff says is necessary from a calorie input point of view. And they blend the two together. So player A may get these things on their plate, and player B may not, because player B has a nut allergy.
Right.
And so they're doing a better job of it. But it's not across the board, and for sure is not in college or high school.
Right.
Because they say money is the object. Oh, we can't afford that. You know. Or in high school level, it's talk to your parents.
Yeah.
Let them deal with it.
Sure.
Which I suppose is fine. So how do we, in addition to talking to the aunts and uncles at the picnic or at the family reunion, what do you recommend to families at home regarding the refrigerator? I know you're a great compartmentalized person in labeling things, and that's awesome stuff, especially for snacks with kids. But what do you recommend for families at home to take care of their environment, make sure it's ready to be healthy?
So one of the things that we've all heard, but I think it's so true because I'm super guilty of this, is going to the grocery store hungry. I've done it, and then I just grab everything. So I'm like,
Yeah.
and then I'll take it out of the cart, and when I'm in the car, and I'll eat it in the car. Because I'm like, I'm hungry now. And
That's like food monopoly for me.
yeah.
Let's go down boardwalk.
Right.
I'm gonna pick up some stuff. Yeah.
So it really is important, though, not to go to the store when you're hungry, because then you are, my blood sugar, if it drops, I just get shaky and weird, and I'm and then I get mad. I'm one of those hangry kind of people, But then you have the ability, right, to choose the right foods, because you're not going to choose a bunch of snacky stuff. But then, don't bring stuff into the house that is not great for you, because if it's there, and I have to walk a thin line with this, because it's not just me, it's my husband, and now we have our nephew living with us as well, and so we're all eat a little bit differently. I'm of course the crazy nutritionist, and people need snacks, so I'm just aware of the type of snacks that I bring in the house. So I don't do the everyday grocery store chips. I'll do the non-GMO organic chips, and I'll be careful. I try to have them cooked in coconut oil or something like that. So they're still chips, and they're snacky, and they're delicious, but it's not trash.
How has your organization of that changed in the cabinets and the refrigerator related to the 3 players in the house?
Well, the nephew just joined us. It's been less than a week.
Okay.
So we're still working through that. But the organization, I try to put snacks all in a place.
Okay.
Because my husband, he'll look through cabinets. It's like, it's not there. It's right in front of you. And
it's kind of a guy thing.
It is. I think
it's kind of a guy thing.
My dad's the same way.
Yep.
And so I try to put all the snacks in one place, so he knows where to go. And same in the fridge. I have actually a jar of nuts and dried fruits and stuff, and coconut and whatever it might be at the time. I have a jar in there for him to take out and snack on when he gets hungry. Because he's one of those guys. If he doesn't eat, then he just gets hungry. It's 8 o'clock. I haven't eaten yet, so here's a snack.
That's your problem. It's 8 o'clock and you haven't eaten yet.
It is a problem. Yes, it's something that we deal with, but we're dealing with it.
So sounds like organizing according to not only what you want nutritionally, but timing. People's needs for things. I can appreciate the distance thing, keeping snacks in one place versus the refrigerator. Because if snacks were close to the refrigerator, I'd hit both.
But yeah.
I would tag both of those.
I guess it depends on how big your kitchen is, too.
Well, yeah. Well, and yeah. It's like when you go out hunting, you hang the meat from the tree so the bear doesn't get it. I tend to be the bear. Hang the meat away from me. Keep it away. The environment in all the worlds that I work in is never enough of a conversation. It's never on the first item of the list about how to organize our space. And yet, when I go through stores like Costco and see the container aisles, we don't have any excuses about organizing. There are so many cool containers. Push button lids, vacuum sealed, really cool looking stuff that you can clamp down the things on. So we don't have any excuses. So if you were to design your ideal space, what shape would it be, and how would you organize to what you said a minute ago about snacks versus primary food groups, the refrigerator, those areas? What would be some primary considerations you'd want to make?
What you're asking me is to be an organized person.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have some organization, but I am not the best, most organized person in the world, and I don't usually give advice on organization. But
this is a good exercise for you. That's funny.
Let's go. I have a great organizer. She and I could come on together.
Yeah. We have a new segment.
There you go.
Yeah. Food management. Or no, food space management. Where do I put this stuff?
I do try to keep things fairly organized. I don't like to look and have to dig. Because I want to see. So I don't use a lot of plastic. So I use glass dishes. They do have a plastic lid most of the time. But I don't use plastic. You don't ever heat plastic in the microwave or dip it in, a lot of the and it's a little off topic, but it's true. A lot of the restaurants now are putting food in bags and dipping it in hot water in order to heat it and cook it. And it's so damaging. It's hormone disrupting. It's toxic. So Don't use plastic. Stay away from plastic.
You know,
use
that came
glass.
from
Use
France.
ceramic.
That device was that plastic bag thing, and
Yeah.
they're superheating it.
I mean,
yeah.
it's cool and great, but it's bad news.
Well, it's fast. It gets it on the
Yeah.
plate quick, and
Yeah.
it doesn't take away the integrity of what it looks like.
Yeah.
It does take away the nutritional value, as you said.
Well, it's just the plastic leaches
Oh,
into the food,
yeah.
and so it's a hormone disruptor. We don't need any more hormones.
Well, and it was because of you that my wife and I have switched to silicone-based glass.
Nice.
You know, away
Yeah.
from the bag stuff. I mean,
Good.
we still have Ziploc bags, but I don't put them into heat.
Good. Yeah.
We freeze stuff in them, that
Yep.
kind of thing.
Sure.
But those are the points I wanted you to make about organizing. Not that you're not organized. Compared to most people, she's pretty organized.
I'm getting there. I'm
But
working on it.
I
I
would-
had help.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I know when to seek out help.
This was not a therapy session, okay? It wasn't. It wasn't at all. Okay, so we're good with the environment because we want to make sure it's organized at whatever level of organization you
Yes.
can maintain.
So you can see it and get to it. Things don't
Exactly.
get old and go bad. Use your freezer.
Now, as you say that though, I'm a smoothie guy,
'Kay.
so bananas get a little brown,
And there's yummy and
and I
sweet.
still use them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, when you see fuzzy stuff on things,
Probably throw it away.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cheese might be an exception. Cut it off, but don't. But see how deep it is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just-
The little roots can grow. And,
Right, exactly. So a little sidebar on that one. So our last segment, which I noticed on Nikki's note, she has a question mark,
Oh yeah. I was like, I don't know what that means.
and it's performance results. Now, typically for us,
Just
you know,
this bottom
yeah,
question.
just the bottom one. But typically, that raised a question in my head about people think that results in nutrition are weight related only.
Right.
If I lose weight, that's success.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe, but not necessarily.
Right.
Because as I've heard my mother and grandmother say to kids and other family members, you're just big boned. You know, and it was an endearing thing. They meant well. Not necessarily true, because we weren't really dealing with the nutritional issues, if there were any, for that child. So what I'm asking about is, in addition to the weight loss thing, what are some things that people can look at in themselves and their behavior or their feelings that represent success for them as a point as an end result of a process? Because losing a number on the
Right.
scale
Yep.
is not necessarily process. Because I could sit still in a room for a few days, get on the scale, and lose weight.
Right.
Not a necessarily good process.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things. When a client comes to me for weight loss, what I tell them is, okay, I know your goal is to lose weight. My goal is for you to be healthy.
Yeah.
And so I don't first start. I'm losing my battery. Hopefully I don't lose you. I don't start with, okay, these are the things we're going to do to lose weight. I start with, let's run the labs. Let's look at your diet. Let's look at your exercise. Let's look at your stress levels. Let's look at all of the things. Thank you. That it's over here.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. All of the things that go into. I can't get it. It's okay.
All right.
It's not a big deal.
All right.
So, but let's look at all the things that go into to what may be creating the excess weight. So it can be food sensitivities. It can be, chemical imbalances. It can be all these things. And if there is a mental and emotional aspect to it, is it that there's gluten and it's not affecting their gut, but it's affecting their brain?
Yeah.
And so those are the things that I want to start at the very bottom and work up. And weight loss is going to come.
Yeah.
So, but and you have to do the work. The work is not always easy. But I want to know why it's happening. I want to know the genetics, and then so we start to maybe see changes in mental attitude, in focus, in foggy brain. We may see changes in skin clearing up, and maybe
Oh, I like
gassy
that.
and bloating and things like that. And so maybe not weight loss yet, but we're starting to see these little changes.
Yeah, and I want to interject a phrase that it's not foreign, but when you put it together, it might be a bit contradictory to weight loss. And I would like to suggest weight management.
Yeah, that's what I put on my website is weight management.
Because
yeah.
the management of weight implies that you're talking about me as a whole. And so the chemistry comes into play.
Yep.
Which then it says, hey, one of the performance results you want to look at is go get your labs done. Have an annual physical that
Yeah.
has labs as a part of it. And I don't mean just the blood lab. I mean, got to take blood to get the labs we're talking about, but
well, there are lots of saliva, urine.
Right.
the
So
whole
get
thing.
get
Yeah.
labs that relate directly to nutritional value, so that you have electrolytes and the chemistry related to that, and enzyme research and data as well. So it's not just and not every doctor is willing or able to do this unless you ask.
There are lots of doctors for no reason except that they're just labs that I'll run. That's also run in functional medicine
Yep.
and integrative medicine that maybe is not run in allopathic medicine.
Yep.
So there are some different labs.
I'm not going to let them off that easy. They check a box.
Well, okay.
They check a box. I mean, I've been around the hospitals and medical profession long enough to know, and it's not a bad thing. It's part of the way they've run their business. It's a paradigm they've gotten into
training.
through medical school training and what
Education,
have you.
yep.
And I'm asking through the use of terms like weight management, that they think about, that you ask your doctor to think about these things, and engage functional nutritionists like Nikki. Preferably Nikki, but if you find somebody else, okay, good, that's fine. And get involved in the process of practicing your nutrition. And so one of the performance results that it may not be easily measured or identified, but it's discipline. How do I recognize that I'm disciplined enough?
I think it's an everyday baby step kind of thing.
Mhm.
You can't, it's not, I have been working on myself and my own nutrition and my own health and all of the things for, 25 years,
Mhm.
however long it's been. And so it's, finding some tools. I have some tools. I also have people that I refer to that have some tools. I'm not the end all be all. There are
Yep.
lots of things. This is why I like where I am, is because although I'm just me, I have resources that, bring a truly mind, body, holistic approach.
Yep.
But, finding the people that have the tools and giving you the ideas. One of the things that I did, I should tell you this, it's amazing, is I brought on someone to help me who's a health coach.
No.
Yes. So part of...
Like for you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I could probably use her too, yeah. Without a doubt. But she's amazing because as part of the programs, when I'm working with clients,
Uh-huh.
I work with them in programs for, months at a time,
Yeah, yeah.
however many months it might be. But she is a part of that program. And so she's out of Dallas. She has has 3 calls with them throughout this time, and maybe more if necessary. But she is such a great addition to my practice. Her name's Gabrielle Grandel. She is with a clinic in Dallas, an amazing functional medicine clinic in Dallas, called Living Well Dallas. And I have to say it just because it's a great group.
That's good.
But so she knows the labs, she knows all the stuff that I know. Her training is amazing. She's actually a registered dietitian, but has found functional nutrition. And so I can work on the sciencey stuff, and she understands everything that I'm doing, and she can work on the lifestyle stuff.
So she's a practical person. She's
yes.
bringing the practical
Yes.
realities to it.
Yeah.
So she's organized.
Yes, she is. She has what I don't have, and it's a great addition.
What a
I
great
love
collaboration.
It.
That's the
been
reason you
So
collaborate.
much fun. Yes.
Fill in the things that I'm
She's
really strong
awesome.
in.
Yeah.
Well,
It's been fun.
and those are great performance results. I mean, when you have, look, it takes a village sometimes, and
I definitely think it takes a village.
I'm not a scientist
yeah.
of my body to the level I need to be,
Yeah.
and in fact, even if I was, I may not be the best scientist for me. I need somebody else to kick my butt.
Yep.
Let me take a look here. Okay, so as we get down to the last few seconds of our time together, I want to just make a couple of notes for the future. Next week, we're going to Bandimere Racetrack, Bandimere Raceway. We're going to broadcast our show live from Bandimere and talk to some of the most gutsy, courageous performers on the planet, because they're going at 300 miles an hour on a quarter-mile track at altitude. Now, at altitude, they're not going to hit 300 miles, but it's still going to have 6 G's of force going against your body. What do you eat to prepare for that? Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't want to eat a lot because I'm going to vomit into
Yeah.
my helmet.
I'm not sure.
And I've only gone
I'm not
into
a
a
speed
car
girl.
that didn't go didn't give me 6 G's. It gave me about like 2 or 3 in those cars. But I'm going to talk to the John Force Racing Team. I'm going to talk to Tony Pedregon, not Tony Pedregon, Tony Schumacher. Tony Pedregon's in the booth these days. His brother Cruz Pedregon. We're going to try to talk to them as well as John Bandemir and the Bandemir family that runs that track out there. That's what we're going to do next week on the show.
Fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
It brings back some old memories. Not old, but yeah, well, they're old, I guess. But people I've known for years. My son was in the industry for a long, long time, which is why I have those contacts with those people. Please join us on the Facebook Live report that we're going to bring out. Come visit us, Janice and everybody out there. Thank you for showing up. A wave to you from our Facebook Live. And our Ustream viewers, our international viewers, by all means, you are getting involved in the racing scene. I know that there's a lot of good racers in the international world that have come here. Australia is represented here. Saudi Arabia and the Arab Emirates are represented in the NHR racing. I'm just looking forward to that show. So thanks again, Nikki, for being
thank
here.
you.
That's always fun to be with you.
It's always fun. I love coming in.
I'm going to get you on your own regular show here. I mean, you got to.
No, we talk about it. I need to do it.
Let's make the decision and get that done.
Okay.
So, everybody on Facebook, we're going to punch the button, say goodbye to
Bye,
everybody.
guys. Thanks, guys. Hey, Ashley. Good
Have
to
a
see
good
y'all.
one. Now.